So hello everyone, Myrmonden here, and welcome to my review of Little Witch episode 19. Really good episode, back to the main story, right? I mean, yes, was last week's episode more intense? What? Absolutely. Last week was the best episode, I think, so far, episode 18. I laughed at it completely right, the second half, the mecha, and like, we believe in our mecha, so magic love attack, it's like drilling, and everything was really awesome, Ghana's post and everything, right? But this episode is going back to the main story, progressing. So in one way, I like the episode even more actually, because you finally get to see some of Diana's backstory. Obviously, this is gonna be her redeeming arc. This episode isn't actually wasn't a one-liner, right? They're actually going on with the next episode, at least one episode. But Diana, which was kind of obvious, and so on. So we finally really get some backstory with Diana, right? So that's very important, of course. I think for sure she will help with one, or I think both the two last words will be with Diana. As a matter of fact, it's also been that she's going to do the last seventh word with Akko. And of course, so we do learn that her ancestor, Beatrix, is one of the 9 witches, and her mother was proud of that, blah blah, and so on, right? And she had this kind of the big painting of that, or like the tapestry, and so on, right? They have some Asian magic and so on, she's very proud of that. We, her auntie, and her cousins, or whatever they are, like, whatever she does, they're like, magic, this is set it up to make money, right? So, so the episode storyline, I find, like as I mentioned in my live reaction, I find the episode really good as typical Little Witch Academia, because it has good storyline, it has characterization, character development, character growth, all of that, right? And also it has, I'm laughing at it. I'm laughing every second scene, but it's still sad when she like Diana flying. I don't think it was in Goosebumps. That scene was really sad, but she was leaving, and going away there and so on. And then we're going back to like the Akko Andrew even as well and so on, right? So it's a lot of stuff there, right? I find it very interesting in this anime. But first and foremost then, let's talk about Diana. So Diana is ancestry, not a witch, right? Obviously the Cavendish family are strong, then probably good amazing. Her aunt seems to be like a snake woman or something, so yeah, there's some power there. Her mother died when she was a kid. Kind of classic backstory, mother is sick as well, and she has the Cinderella backstory. I found that a little funny though. It's just the cliche of it, right? But they really pushed it so much. It's really kind of funny because it was so overkill. Like she has this like evil stepmom or like evil aunt or something, and then she has her like daughters that are like, oh, you're a pretty sister, like evil twins. They're always like smirking and bitchy, right? It's like, this is typical. It's so cliche that it almost kind of funny because they really push it like to the max, right? And Akko gets there like, Maggie Sugar, how poor muggle, go away. So yeah, so that thing like pushed to the max, right? And the great part of that was, of course, when they're insulting Akko, and it was like, oh, you can't do nothing. And the jumps in the way, like, no, she's a great magician. She's a genius magician. She's gonna be the best ever. It's like, I loved the part because it's kind of like my enemy is my friend. So it's like, no. These bitches, if they complain about anyone, I'm gonna defend that person because no, they're fucking bitches. Yeah, it's like, you shut up. Yeah, like that was great. But of course, also before this, because the episode was at the sad beginning, right? And I really love the beginning of it because the Akko and Diana, of course, it's either Akko was going to end up with Diana, right, or Andrew, right? But it was like very nice, very classic there. Good storytelling where Diana has her friends and so on. But obviously Akko, her rival, is an actual real friend because the other ones are usually her followers, right? It actually reminds me, I don't know why, but I was thinking about that in Griffith and Guts, actually. When Griffith is kind of like, are you a friend or you're a follower to Guts? And they fight and so on, that's how they break up, right, and so on. Because in Berserk, because that's a very good speak there for Griffith, it's like most people that use followers, they aren't actually your equal, right? They aren't actually your friends because they used to follow what you say, right? And her friends are obviously her positive followers. And they're crying and she's leaving and so on. But Akko's like, no, I'm gonna stop her. You're gonna stay here. You're my rival. You're my kind of friend or something. And you're gonna leave me here. Yeah, I need you here to push me to be better. Like, no. You are not allowed to leave. And I was like, I love that. She's like, get away, Akko. Do your Triskelon and I know which stuff. And up to you, you idiot. Like, yeah. And obviously Diana really likes Akko, right? Have you seen it there as well? She's trying to forgive Akko and so on, so like her more and more. And see, also this is like, you are the chosen one, you have the road, you are the shining shard, you do that stuff. Stop whining about me here. I have to do my like noble Cavendish stuff. You do your stuff, do it actually. It's just like, you believe in me? But no, but yes, kinda. Yeah, so that's great there. So that scene was good, absolutely. But her auntie then, her Obasama, was like, she must have magic powers, right? I was surprised, and I looked at it again a few times, and I'm still befounded by the scene. We see a snake, right, like a white with red eyes, clear red eyes snake, looks very evil because it's like pure red eyes. When the castle is obviously complete shit, and then the next day it's suddenly super clean, for that matter. But anyway, so we see that scene, right? And he blasts the snakes, and he goes up in his skirt of her auntie. It's like, goes up in her, and up in her clothes. It's like, what? And then we see her like, welcome home. And they're like, auntie. And then she's like, gets the super red eyes, like evil red eyes, and she just fades away to the wall. I'm just like, what? What's happening in that scene? Like, it's kind of funny because obviously your auntie, so, but okay, they don't make fun of Akko because she's kind of like a muggle blood, kind of, useless magician girl, not really like a noble magic. Of course, there's more that sense than they hate magic, but of course later on we see that they even brought up the Beatrix tapestry that Diana holds so dear to her mom, right? And she's like, what, you can't have that, we have to keep that in our family, that's like Cavendish noble, the magic blood. It's like, fuck that, like. But there, in that sense, in that part, her auntie and her, those are like whatever magic is done, right? So it's kind of weird because obviously her auntie is some kind of very strong witch, right? She's like, I'm a snake lady or something, and they're probably gonna fight in this episode because it ends with them being like, I'm the real Cavendish woman, I'm the real leader of this family. You're crap. I'm gonna beat you. So they're like, yeah. So obviously gonna fight this episode about who's gonna be the actual, own the family, right? So the strongest witch. So I guess they were more making fun of Akko's lack of nobility, I suppose, but it was actually kind of unclear there. Well, that's more like they made fun of both, I think. Where I would say they did that. In my perspective, they were making fun of. That's how I read at least. They were making fun of both of her parts of being, you're still doing like using magic, and you're not even noble doing that. Oh, you suck. So it's kind of like both of that. So it kind of had a little weird. He's trying to sell off the magic stuff, and she's still probably a good magician herself. Probably. It's like clear. It's the next episode. But I think they're gonna fight, right? And she has probably some kind of Oshimaru power. I don't know, but that scene is, I was like, what is happening? She's like, I have this snake pet. I was like, okay. And she's like, welcome home, dear. But she fades away. He was like, what is happening? It's like, that was so weird. Not only did her eyes like red, the next scene is like completely dark. It's like, I was like, what? That scene was just so out of place. So out of place. But anyway, that's kind of the main story. I liked it. I thought it was good. And obviously, one or at least one of the last words will somehow be resolved with this thing, right? For sure. Or at least getting Diana on Akko's side. It's gonna solve one where I'm absolutely sure of that. And otherwise, we have the Akko and the Andrew part. First, it's a message part I liked. For example, I love the part where Akko's running back and forth. And we see Ursula. It's like, can I go and save Diana? She's like, yes, gambatte, Akko. I was like, yes, and then goes, and then Susie and Lot stands there with her road and her like briefcase, like, here you go, honey. She's like, yay! I just love the part. They were like, here you go. And before that, of course, she ran past the fort, and Susie's like, oh, she's late. Oh, there she is. It's like, ran past them. It's like, I don't care really. It's like, God, she didn't come here. Okay, he's like a fucker. Almost a douchebag friend. It's like, yeah, that's good. And of course, after that, we do get into this pickup. That is for me again. Let's saw last week, and obviously the whole anime episode last week. How good they are to trigger at doing this physical comedy, right? But it's love. Every time I look at the image, I'm laughing. Every time I'm looking at that scene, I look at that for this, and I laugh every time when it's just picking up car, like trying to get a car right. This looks so funny. I don't know how they make it so good, but it looks so fun. I think. Like Stan doing this, like, yay! I'm a really nice girl. Pick me up. And then the drive past is like, she drops the sign and it falls down to the ground, right? Head first into the ground. And she's lying angry, like, no one likes me in the fucking world. Like, I just love it. It's just so perfect. The Akko part is so good there. And of course, after that, we see her finally getting a car ride. She's like, hey, car ride. And then you see her face go from this and into Andrew. It's like, why? And of course, next scene, it's in between Andrew and his dad. She's having this like, words is super awkward. She's suddenly in that super awkward car ride, right? And of course later on you see Akko with this whole thing like dressing her up and so on. He's complaining about getting her hair done and take a bath. He's like, no, I want to take a bath. Oh no! It's like, yeah, all of that is great, of course. So Akko is always really, really funny. And then the two parts I want to mention that before this review ends here. One is of course that Diana has one of those cards, right? One of the shiny cherry cards. Akko lacked one card. Like Akko had every card except one. So obviously Diana's gonna give the card to Akko. They're gonna combine the collections. But yeah, they're gonna give that card to Akko eventually, right? For after this episode or late in the end of the episode, and she's finally gonna have the whole collection, right? Because Diana has the last super deluxe rare card that Akko never could get, right? So Diana has that one. It's gonna be the perfect thing there. When they're best friends, that's like, here's the card because you save the world. Like, yay! This is more worth than saving the planet. That's gonna be something like that, right? How Akko gets the card from her. Probably not this last episode, but probably the end of the whole anime. It's like, here's the card there. It's like, yay! I always wanted that, and I love how Diana is like had this beautiful chest there. It's like, no, don't touch that. It's like the perfect, like one magic chest to protect her one card, right? The deluxe shiny chariot card, like shiny chariot, mythical legendary card. Like, this is my card. So that was really good. And obviously it's gonna come back to that later. And so lastly, then we have that, and lastly, we also have to have riots again for some random reason. We've seen in the previous episode on some iPad episodes back, so that could be something that like magic is less and less valuable in the world, like magic is dying off, right? And that might make it people are angry or something like that. I don't know, but that could be something. But otherwise, it's a really good episode. Would I say it's the most story episode? Probably. It's probably the most story-focused episode so far, actually. Probably because we don't know anything. Well, one thing it's still good anime, but it's kind of interesting that we know nothing about, Akko's backstory. Can we not need to? Because you should kind of use the typical shonen fighting hero, you just want to become the best. We know backstory with China, that's pretty much right? We don't know parents and so on. We don't know anything about Susie or Ursula or Croy. They probably have backstory soon though, but still, right? We don't lose parents though. Like, so Diana is actually thinking about the most well-developed character in the anime by far now. She has this whole episode, next episode by her, and she also has the backstory with Chariot as Akko. So she has by far the most developed character now. So she has way more story than the other ones. It's about her, right? And her family and her relationship and so her growth, character and so on. But obviously she's the nice rival, right? The rival with respect for her enemies. Obviously she's gonna change sides, because friends with the main character. So she needs some development to make that the change make sense, right? So, but that's good. But I liked the episode definitely. Great episode. So anyway, see you guys next week. Have a great day.